Ash drifts through the ruins of the human colony like falling snow. Where cities once stood, there is only fire-blackened metal and the distant groan of collapsing towers. A child's broken toy lies half buried in the dust, its plastic edges melted by plasma fire. The colony's final emergency broadcast crackles through the void. This isn't peace, this is extermination. If anyone can hear us, run. Then silence. High above the devastation, aboard the Terran Command Spire, General Aric Hale watches the uncut footage for the first time. His jaw clenches. Officers wait, breath held, knowing the galaxy itself may shift with his next words. He turns from the screens. If this is their idea of a civilized war, then humanity declares, no. More. Civilized. War. And with that single sentence, the age of mercy ends, and the age of reckoning begins. The chamber lights dimmed as the holographic display ignited, painting the walls of the Terran Strategic Hall with cold blue light. Rows of military officials, scientists, and intelligence officers stared in silence as the screen replayed the massacre for the 15th time. No one spoke. No one breathed. Every second of footage cut deeper than a blade. The Civilized Combat Accords had been the foundation of interstellar diplomacy for nearly a century. A treaty designed to limit warfare, protect civilians, and ensure that no species repeated the ancient cycle of total annihilation that had once nearly destroyed the galaxy. Humanity had embraced the Accords wholeheartedly. Every weapon system, every fleet formation, every military doctrine was built to comply. But the Galaxy Council, the very creators of the Accords, had never followed them with the same devotion. Their fleets violated the rules in subtle, deniable ways. Their inspections were harsher on some species and lenient on others. And their peacekeeping operations often looked uncomfortably like intimidation. General Aric Hale had known this much. But he had not known they were capable of this. The hologram zoomed in on the colony of Ariston III. A lush settlement. A thriving human world. No weapon platforms. No military presence. Just families, farmers, researchers, dead. A council battleship, the CSS Varanes, descended from orbit. Its cannons glowed with the signature blue-white hue of a targeted sterilization beam, a weapon explicitly banned by the Accords. Yet the footage was clear. The weapon fired. The city vaporized. Pause it, Hale ordered quietly. The frame froze, a wall of light swallowing a school building. Major Lysandra Voss, pale and trembling, broke the silence. This wasn't a strike to disable infrastructure. This was a sweep pattern. They were cleansing the planet. Cleansing, Hale echoed, the word bitter in his mouth. Their report claims Ariston III was conducting illegal xenobiological experiments. Admiral Kess shook his head sharply. The colony didn't even have a lab capable of xenobiology. That accusation isn't a mistake, it's a fabrication. And the council voted unanimously to authorize the strike, added Voss. No investigation. No hearing. No warning. Hale's eyes narrowed. He had devoted 30 years of his life to defending the galaxy's fragile peace. He had believed in the Accords more than almost anyone. And yet, the truth stood in front of him like a smoldering corpse. The Accords were a lie. A tool. A leash placed on humanity's neck. Because humanity had risen too fast. Because they had expanded too far. Because their potential frightened the old powers of the galaxy. Fear had driven the Council to slaughter a civilian world. Fear, and the belief that humanity would simply endure it, bound by the very rules that the Council openly violated. General, said Admiral Kess, his voice low, they think we won't retaliate. Hale turned to the room, jaw clenched. They think we're bound, he said. That we're too civilized to fight back. That we'll swallow our grief and kneel. He reached out and closed the hologram with a swipe, plunging the room into darkness. But they have made a mistake. A fatal one. Lights buzzed back to life. Hale stood tall, his voice clear, steady, and colder than deep space. Ariston 3 wasn't an accident. It was a message. A pause. And now humanity must answer. Every officer in the chamber straightened. The time has come, he said, to uncover every lie the council has ever told. Then, leaning forward, and to reveal what they fear most. At that moment, every soldier in the room understood. Chapter 1 was not about war beginning. It was about illusions ending. The great chamber of the Terran Unified Authority had not been this full in decades. Representatives from every human colony, every fleet armada, every scientific branch, and every diplomatic corps filled the curved amphitheater. Above them, the Terran banner hung from the ceiling, its deep blue field now draped with a single black stripe to honor the dead of Ariston 3. General Aric Hale stood at the center podium, the massacre footage still burning in the minds of all present. The murmurs died as he raised his hand. "We have sent 3 requests for dialogue to the Galaxy Council," Hale began. 3 requests for explanation. 3 requests for accountability. He tapped the console. The hologram behind him displayed a stark message. Transmission blocked, communication revoked by Galactic Authority. Gasps and curses rippled across the room. Hale continued. "They did not block us accidentally. They did not ignore us. They cut us off intentionally. They don't want to talk. They don't want to negotiate. They want us isolated." Ambassador Elena Marin, humanity's most senior diplomat, stood abruptly. "This is madness," she said. "The Council has never severed communication with a member species. This is a declaration of hostility." "Not hostility," replied Hale. "Control." A second message appeared on the hologram, this one decrypted by Terran intelligence. A cold, impersonal voice echoed through the chamber. "Humanity will submit to Council governance or face total military action. Compliance protocols begin in 48 hours." Every human in the room froze. It wasn't a threat. It was an ultimatum. Ambassador Marin's face went white. "They want to strip us of sovereignty. And disarm our fleets," added Admiral Kess grimly. "Which would leave our outer colonies defenseless." "They're not asking for peace," Hale said. "They are demanding obedience." Marin sank into her chair. "Why? What do they gain from starting a war with us?" Hale pressed a button. A star map appeared, the Milky Way glittering with blue and red markers. "Because we've grown too fast," he answered. "In 50 years, humanity has colonized 73 systems. We have developed technologies they cannot replicate. Our diplomacy has earned us alliances the Council never approved." He zoomed in on the Council's core territories. "What they see," Hale said slowly, "is a species evolving beyond their control. And historically, the Council only knows how to deal with such species in one way." A murmur spread, fear mixed with fury. "Genocide," someone whispered. Hale didn't deny it. Instead, he opened a new hologram, one locked under Omega Black clearance. A file few had ever seen. A file legends were whispered about but never confirmed. Project Olympus. Classification, absolute restricted. Purpose, strategic deterrence. Gasps filled the chamber. "General," said President Naima Cade, the civilian head of the Terran Authority, "that project was sealed for a reason." "The Accords." "The Accords died on Ariston 3, Hale answered sharply. Silence. He stepped forward, his eyes burning with controlled rage. "Ladies and gentlemen, every safeguard we trusted has been shattered. The laws we followed have been turned against us. The Council has declared they will dismantle humanity by force." He let the words sink in. "We have 48 hours to choose our fate." The room felt like it was holding its breath. Hale continued, "Submit, and watch our children become subjects of an empire that murdered millions." He paused. "Or we unleash Olympus." Some officials flinched. Others straightened with grim determination. Ambassador Marin wiped her eyes. "General, if we activate Olympus, there is no turning back." There was no turning back, Hale said quietly, the moment Ariston 3 burned. President Cade slowly rose. General Hale, she said, her voice trembling yet steady, the authority of this room grants power to unlock any project deemed essential for survival. She took a breath. With great reluctance, and with greater resolve. I authorize the resurrection of Project Olympus. The chamber erupted, not with cheers, but with something heavier. Something older. A vow. Humanity would not go quietly. Humanity would not kneel. And as Hale saluted the president, he whispered the words that would soon echo across the galaxy. Then so it begins. Small moon. No civilian knew of it. Only a handful of commanders had clearance to speak its name. A warning sign flickered above the colossal blast doors. Absolute restricted zone, Project Olympus. Authorized entry equals war. The doors began to part. For the first time in 70 years, Olympus was waking up. General Aric Hale stepped into the heart of humanity's buried power. Scientists, engineers, and AI architects moved in synchronized urgency. The air hummed with energy as machines rebooted, reactors warmed, and sealed compartments hissed open. Weapons long banned by the civilized combat accords lined the massive chamber. Quantum strike fleets. Jump-capable ships designed to attack faster than any sensor could track. Illegal because the Council feared them. AI swarm drones. Self-coordinating, self-repairing, capable of overwhelming entire armadas. Illegal because the Council didn't trust humans with autonomous weapons. Anti-superluminal disruptors. Devices that could freeze enemy ships out of warp. Illegal because they neutralized the Council's biggest military advantage. Behemoth armor. Exosuits capable of letting a single soldier defeat a platoon. Illegal because they made humanity dangerously effective. Everything the Council forbade was here, because everything here could end the Council. Dr. Rana Elwin, the lead scientist, rushed to Hale's side. General, most of the systems are intact, she said breathlessly. The Accords forced us to shut down public development, but Olympus remained in low-power stealth mode. We're bringing everything online. Timeline? Hale asked. 40 hours to full combat readiness. Hale nodded. Good. We have 48 before the Council's compliance deadline. Dr. Elwin hesitated. Sir, the world outside still thinks we're following the Accords. If we do this, there's no going back. Hale turned to her. They burned Ariston 3 alive. There is no going back. She swallowed, then gave a firm nod. In that case, welcome to war, General. In orbit above Terra, the first Olympus ships activated. The stars flickered around them as hulls shimmered into view, sleek, matte black vessels built entirely from quantum field harmonics. They looked less like machines and more like predators. Admiral Kess watched from the bridge of the TSS Aegis. General, he said through the comms, the quantum fleet is awakening. They're beautiful and terrifying. As they should be, Hale replied. One by one, hundreds of ships powered up. Q-class destroyers. Titan-class dreadnoughts. Ghost sloops capable of vanishing from all known detection. Helios war carriers housing drone swarms like metallic storms. Every ship had been forbidden. Every ship existed because humanity had prepared for the day the Council's hypocrisy would turn violent. That day had come. On the operation deck, President Naima Cade appeared via secure relay, flanked by members of the Terran Authority. General Hale, she said, the people are frightened. They know the Council has cut us off, but they don't yet know the extent of the massacre. They will, Hale answered. When the time is right. And Olympus? She asked quietly. He looked out at the awakening fleet, as stars warped, drones synchronized, and weapons hummed. Olympus, Hale said, is no longer a contingency. It is humanity's answer. President Cade closed her eyes briefly. Then we place our species in your hands, General. Hale saluted. The Council thinks we are afraid, he said. But Olympus wasn't created out of fear. It was created because humans never stop preparing. Dr. Elwyn stepped forward. And once activated, General, Olympus doesn't stop. Hale turned to his assembled officers. This is not revenge, he declared. This is not aggression. He let the silence deepen, the hum of the machines filling the void. This is survival. And we will not fight a civilized war by rules designed to keep us vulnerable. The officers straightened, eyes burning with purpose. From this moment, Hale said, humanity fights on its own terms. He raised his hand. Activate Project Olympus. A deep rumble shook the vault. Lights flared. Reactors roared. Ships in orbit powered to maximum output. For the first time since its creation, Project Olympus was fully awake. And every sensor in the galaxy felt the shockwave. The Galaxy Council expected panic. They expected humanity to scatter, beg, kneel. What they did not expect was silence. A calm, focused, surgical silence. On the bridge of the TSS Aegis, Admiral Kess stood before a vast holographic map of Council-controlled space. Red markers represented enemy systems. Blue represented Terran colonies. And the yellow markers, new and pulsing with energy, were the Olympus strike fleets. General, Kess said, all Olympus units are online. Awaiting your order. General Aric Hale stepped forward, the weight of Ariston III carved into every line on his face. This isn't just retaliation, he said to the assembled commanders. This is demonstration. The Council believes humanity is weak. Today, we show them what humanity truly is. He lowered his hand. Begin Operation Dawn. In the outer systems of the Galaxy Council, life continued as usual. Supply convoys drifted through trade lanes. Patrol fleets cruised lazily between stations. Council commanders sat comfortably, assured that humanity was cornered. Then space folded open. Not warped. Not jumped. Folded. A Q-class destroyer, Olympus designation Valkyrie, materialized behind a Council supply world. Its black hull absorbed starlight, ghost-like and silent. Target locked, reported Commander Idris. Non-lethal strike only, Hale ordered through the secure channel. Let them understand mercy before they misunderstand our power. The Valkyrie fired a single lance of shimmering quantum energy. The blast didn't destroy buildings. It didn't kill a single person. But it tore through the planet's orbital infrastructure, disabling power grids, communication arrays, supply docks, navigation systems. Within seconds, the entire world was blind, mute, and helpless. Council emergency channels exploded with alarm. Unknown vessel detected. Systems failing. Our fleet isn't responding. We're under attack. Yet when their scanners finally connected, the Valkyrie was gone. A ghost. A warning. Next came something even more devastating. Humanity didn't fire a weapon. It fired a message. In the command core of the Aegis, Dr. Elwyn initiated the quantum pulse sequence. Energy arced across the emitters, twisting into a shape no natural law approved of. Pulse ready, she said. Fire, Hale ordered. The pulse raced across space, invisible and silent, yet irresistible. Every Council network within 12 sectors flickered. Then shut down. Completely. No communications. No star charts. No fleet coordination. Their entire military grid went dark. For the first time in centuries, the Council felt helpless. Humiliated, the Council acted exactly as Hale predicted. They launched a fleet, huge, furious, and desperate. 7 cruisers, 3 frigates, and a dreadnought surged toward Terran space through the Vandros corridor. In their path stood a single ship. The TSS Sabre. A human destroyer. Outnumbered 11-1. Council Commander Silvac mocked over open frequency. Human vessel, shut down engines and surrender. You have no chance. On the Sabre, Captain Mira Solari cracked a small smile. "General Hale," she said, "permission to demonstrate Olympus capabilities?" "Permission granted," Hale replied. "Show them what one human ship can do." And she did. The Sabre vanished. Not cloaked. Not hidden. Gone. Council sensors scrambled, searching, panicking. Then the human destroyer reappeared behind the enemy dreadnought and unleashed a storm of AI-swarmed drones. Thousands of needle-sized machines struck simultaneously, slicing through armor, disabling engines, blinding sensors, shorting out weapons. The dreadnought died without ever firing a shot. The cruisers opened fire blindly, but their beams hit nothing. The Sabre flickered like a phantom, rewriting its position faster than their systems could process. It destroyed the entire fleet in under 4 minutes. 1 human ship. 11 Council warships. A victory so overwhelming that across the galaxy, millions witnessed the footage and whispered one word. Humans. Not with fear. With awe. Desperate, the Galaxy Council broadcasted a message to the galaxy. Humanity is barbaric. They have abandoned the Accords. They are a threat to peace. General Hale responded publicly for the first time. He appeared not in armor, not in shadow, but in the ruins of Ariston III, standing beside the melted remains of a child's toy. His voice was steady. Controlled. Deadly. "You burned our children alive." He lifted the toy from the ash. "And you call us barbarians?" The message spread across every species, every world, every station. The galaxy saw the truth. And for the first time, they questioned the Council. Back aboard the Aegis, Hale addressed his fleet. "This is not conquest," he said. "This is not dominance." He looked out at the stars, the same stars that watched Ariston III burn. "This is justice." Today, the Council learns. Humanity will never again fight a civilized war that only civilizes our chains. He raised his hand. "Prepare for Phase 2. Every officer stood straighter. Every ship hummed with power. Every human felt the same fire. The war had changed. And now, the galaxy would too. The Galaxy Council's core world, Vandros Prime, had never known fear. It was the political heart of the Milky Way, a glittering metropolis suspended in a cradle of silver rings and energy fields. A world protected by thousands of defense platforms, elite fleets, and a planetary shield said to be impenetrable. But on this day, Vandros Prime felt something ancient and unfamiliar. Dread. Because a message had reached them, one simple sentence, carried on encrypted Terran frequencies. Phase 2 has begun. Humanity did not come alone. When the first Olympus fleets folded into the Council's central sector, dozens of alien ships followed behind them. Not as enemies. Not as prey. But as allies. Species long suppressed by the Council's politics joined humanity openly. The Varkeen clans, tired of being used as Council shock troops. The Arathian scholars, whose scientific research the Council restricted. The Kalori nomads, whose migration routes were regulated at Council whim. Even some Council member worlds who realized the truth of the genocide. Humanity had become something unexpected. A beacon. The oppressed rallied. The silent found a voice. The galaxy shifted. And the Council felt its grip unravel. In a panic, the Council launched its greatest fleet. 40 cruisers. 22 battleships. 8 dreadnoughts. The flagship CSS Sovereign, a Titan-class vessel 2 miles long. It was the most powerful fleet assembled in centuries. On the bridge of the Sovereign, High Marshal Yora Veln snarled. "Humanity believes they can challenge authority. They will drown in our fire." But when the Council fleet arrived at Vandros Prime, humanity was already waiting. The Aegis. The Sabre. Titan-class Olympus Dreadnoughts glowing with impossible energy. Hundreds of quantum ships silent and deadly as night. The two armadas stared across the void, one trembling with fear, the other carved from steel and purpose. General Hale spoke over an open channel. "Stand down. You are fighting for tyrants who murder civilians." Marshal Veln spat back. "You broke the accords. You brought chaos." Hale's voice was calm, too calm. "The Council broke the accords when they burned Ariston III. A pause. We are restoring order." The channel cut. And the final battle began. The Council fired first. A barrage of plasma beams surged toward the Terran line. But they never hit. Olympus ships folded sideways through space, the beams passing harmlessly through afterimages. Then humanity struck. Quantum torpedoes twisted through enemy shields. AI swarm drones carved corridors into enemy hulls. Anti-superluminal disruptors froze Council ships mid-warp, leaving them helpless and drifting. Within minutes, the battlefield shifted from orderly lines to chaos, in which humanity thrived. Captain Mira Solari and the Saber sliced through the Council's left flank like a phantom blade. Every time the Council locked onto her position, the Saber simply ceased to exist and reappeared elsewhere. Dr. Elwyn coordinated drone storms from the Aegis, overwhelming ships without killing their crews. Humanity's goal was clear. Defeat the Council's power, not its people. And that mercy won hearts across the battlefield. Entire alien crews surrendered mid-combat. Some turned their ships on the Council command chain. Others powered down weapons and drifted intentionally into Terran protection zones. The Council's dominance was collapsing faster than anyone expected. At the heart of the chaos, the CSS Sovereign charged toward the Aegis, firing a barrage that could crack moons. Admiral Kess shouted, "General, brace." The Aegis shuddered as its shields flickered. Hale steadied himself. "Target the Sovereign." Full power. The Olympus Dreadnoughts aligned. Their hulls glowed with a white-blue fury as their main cannons charged. The Council flagship loomed ahead, a mountain of metal and hate. Marshal Veln's voice roared over comms. "Humanity will kneel before the Sovereign." Hale answered softly. "No. Humanity kneels to no tyrant." He lowered his hand. "Fire." The Dreadnoughts unleashed a barrage that tore through space itself. The Sovereign cracked down the middle, splitting in a shower of molten metal. The battlefield froze. The unthinkable had happened. The Council's strongest ship was gone. Fear spread through the remaining Council forces. One by one, their ships powered down. Their commanders sent desperate messages. "We surrender. Do not fire. We yield to Terran authority." Humanity did not fire again. They simply advanced, steady, calm, unstoppable. On Vandros Prime, the Council's great spire shook as human troops landed at its base. Leaders huddled inside, waiting for death. But death did not come. General Hale entered the chamber with a small squad. No weapons drawn. No threats made. The councilors stared, trembling. "We admit it," whispered Counselor Jathol. "We feared humanity. Your growth. Your influence. Your potential. So we struck first." Hale looked at them, tired, grieving, resolute. "Fear," he said softly, "is not an excuse for genocide." The counselors bowed their heads. And now, one asked, "What will humanity do with us?" Hale didn't answer immediately. Then he said the words that would reshape the future. "We do not destroy civilizations. We rebuild them." And with that, the Galaxy Council, once the galaxy's greatest political force, fell without a single more shot. Humanity had not merely won a war. It had unmade an empire. The fires of Vandros Prime had faded, replaced by a strange, heavy quiet. Human troops moved through the Council capital not as conquerors, but as guardians. Medical ships landed. Engineers began stabilizing damaged structures. Civilians, once terrified, now watched the humans with cautious hope. General Aric Hale walked through the council's shattered spire, every step echoing in the grand hall where laws had once been forged and broken. The air smelled of smoke and old lies. Hale paused at the center of the chamber. Here, the fate of millions had been decided with the cold press of a button. Here, Ariston III had been sentenced to death. Not out of justice. Not out of necessity. But out of fear. He closed his eyes for a moment, long enough to remember the faces lost, the ash, the ruins, the silence. Then he opened them again. It was time to rebuild a galaxy. 3 days later, a vast stadium on Vandros Prime was filled with representatives from across the Milky Way. Former Council worlds. Liberated species. Neutral factions. And the reborn Terran Alliance. No one sat on a throne. No one stood above the others. A circular platform had been constructed, symbolizing unity, not hierarchy. General Hale stepped forward, accompanied by President Naima Cade and Ambassador Elena Marin. Hale's voice carried across the stadium. Today, he began, we closed the chapter of an empire built on fear. He gestured toward the star map behind him, no longer divided into council zones and controlled territories, but open, shared, equal. For centuries, the Galaxy Council claimed to guard peace. But peace built on oppression is not peace. Laws enforced through fear are not justice. He paused. And war that targets civilians is not civilized. A murmur spread, a mixture of grief and agreement. Hale continued. Humanity did not come to claim the galaxy. Humanity came to free it. He turned, revealing a new document projected above the assembly. A treaty. Simple, elegant, and unmistakable. The Accord of Humanity. Principle 1. No war may ever target civilians. Principle 2. No species owns another. Principle 3. Peace cannot be enforced through fear. The crowd stirred. Is this, asked an Arathian scholar, a new council? Hale shook his head. No. This is not a council of rulers. This is a pact of equals. A promise. A shield for every world, every species, every home. He looked around the assembly. Humanity has seen what happens when those in power place themselves above accountability. We will not allow it again, not for us, not for anyone. The Varkeen war chief stepped forward. And who enforces this accord? Who ensures no tyrant rises again? Hale answered simply. All of us. Together. Weeks later, on the silent surface of Ariston III, a memorial stood where the first city had burned. Tall pillars of polished stone rose into the sky, each engraved with the names of the lost. At the center of the memorial was a single sculpture. A melted child's toy. Preserved in crystal. A reminder. A vow. General Hale stood before it, alone. The wind blew softly across the ruins, carrying the faint scent of ash and the faint hope of renewal. Ambassador Marin approached quietly. They're calling us something new, she said. Across the galaxy, I mean. Hale didn't turn. What name? She stepped beside him. The Shield Race. The ones who stand between the innocent and the fire. Hale exhaled slowly. That isn't a title, he said. It's a responsibility. And will we bear it? She asked. Hale touched the crystal-encased toy. For as long as we breathe, he whispered. In the months that followed, humanity and its allies rebuilt what was broken. The Council's old police fleets were replaced with volunteer defense coalitions. Trade between species flourished without corruption. Research once suppressed by Council oversight expanded and connected worlds in ways never before possible. And young species, once ignored, found mentors, partners, and equals among humans. The galaxy was not perfect. It never would be. But it was better than it had been in centuries. And humanity, once seen as the newest species in the galaxy, had become its conscience, its shield. On the bridge of the Aegis, General Hale watched the stars pass by. Each point of light represented a world. A people. A future. Admiral Kess approached. General, he said with a quiet smile, High Command is asking for your recommendation on the next mission. Hale folded his hands behind his back. Simple, Admiral, he replied. We protect the innocent. We prevent tyranny. And we never, ever, allow another Ariston III. Kess nodded. And the Accords? He asked. Hale stared into the vast, endless night. The old Accords are dead, he said. But the new ones live on in us. He turned, giving the final order. Set course for the frontier. Humanity stands watch. The engines ignited, bathing the void in light. The Aegis soared forward, into a galaxy reborn.